The intensity of the situation around Greenland and the United States is reaching a level that until recently seemed unthinkable, even in the most pessimistic scenarios. And at this moment, Denmark, which formally owns Greenland, is beginning to prepare for the worst-case development. According to sources close to European diplomatic circles, Copenhagen is in a state of shock and deep mistrust. A country that for decades considered the United States its closest NATO ally now has to watch as that ally openly discusses the possibility of a force-based scenario and the effective annexation of territory under Danish sovereignty. Closed government reports emphasize that this is not merely a crisis of trust, but a breakdown of the entire logic of the post-war world in which allies did not threaten each other with force. For Denmark, what is happening is existential. If the United States is willing to apply pressure or military force against it today, no formal guarantees matter anymore. Particularly painful in Copenhagen is the fact that the European Union, despite loud statements of solidarity, objectively can offer almost nothing to counter potential American aggression. According to insiders, Brussels fully understands its limitations. Sending a symbolic contingent of several dozen or hundreds of troops to Greenland cannot stop the United States and appears more as a gesture of political protest than real protection. This realization that the collective West is unable to defend itself from an internal threat becomes the hardest blow for Denmark. Against this backdrop, Danish elites increasingly focus on the reactions of external players, primarily China and Russia. According to confidential sources, in recent weeks, Copenhagen has received informal signals and proposals that a few years ago would have been immediately dismissed as absurd. China and Russia, understanding that the crisis around Greenland could destroy the Western world from within and undermine alliances built over decades, express readiness to provide political, economic, and even symbolic support. These proposals contain no direct promises of military protection, but they clearly aim to deepen divisions within the West, pour fuel on the fire, and accelerate the process of dismantling transatlantic unity. In Moscow and Beijing, analysts emphasize what is happening is seen as a unique once-in-a-generation opportunity, a moment when the West itself is creating conditions for its own weakening. It is in this context, according to rumors, that the idea arose, which until recently seemed absolutely impossible, the discussion of a hypothetical rapprochement of Denmark with BRICS as a symbolic alternative to Western structures. This is not about formal membership or a real military alliance, since that would contradict Denmark's political tradition and international obligations, but the very fact of such a proposal speaks volumes. Closed circles stress that for China and Russia, this gesture has primarily symbolic significance, to show that even core Western countries under threat are beginning to look beyond the West. For Denmark, the proposal remains unacceptable for now, but analytical assessments increasingly contain a troubling thought. If the United States really goes for a force-based scenario against an ally, previous taboos will be broken, and nothing will formally prevent Copenhagen from considering any options, including those that today seem impossible. This is precisely what makes the situation around Greenland so explosive. For the first time in decades, the world is approaching a point where alliance commitments lose meaning and states must prepare to survive under complete uncertainty. For China and Russia, this is a window of opportunity that they are ready to exploit as cautiously but persistently as possible, increasing tensions and pushing the West toward further division. For Europe, this is a painful lesson that without real strategic autonomy, any guarantees remain empty words. For Denmark, it is a tragic dilemma between loyalty to old alliances and the necessity